Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video, and this is another basketball reaction, and this one is 4 moments that changed the NBA forever. So the actual thing that I searched was four injuries that changed the NBA forever. But because someone suggested that under my Derek Rose reaction, because obviously he suffered his injuries, which is like some of the worst in basketball. And I didn't actually see what I searched. This is the top one, so I just assumed this is what it is. I'm not 100% sure if it is, but nevertheless, it seems like it could be a very interesting video to react to. And yo, man, I'm just interested in seeing things like this because, I mean, once again, Derek Rose is one of my favourite players. And if he is involved in this, which I assume he is, maybe he's not even. I might just actually, if I look at the comments, it'll probably ruin it for me. But yo, let's just get into it. I'm excited to see what it's about because I'm genuinely not too sure. And yeah, let's see what changed the NBA forever.
August 1st, 2014. USA Basketball is putting on a showcase for the fans. Nothing more than an inter-squad scrimmage.
So it
It feels like just yesterday I was watching this game, but it has been nearly 5 years.
Oh, so this is the US
Chandler Parsons was still relevant. Stephen Curry had yet to bless us with his record-shattering season. Bradley Beal was the youngest player on Team USA, and Paul George was one of the league's brightest young stars. In fact, after his incredible performance in the 2013 playoffs where a 22-year-old George and the Pacers pushed the defending champs to 7 games, and he did this, we were all but certain Paul George was the future. He was young, he was athletic, big, fast, he could handle the ball, shoot. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this clip right here. If you haven't seen it before, trust me, you don't want to. It was gruesome, and it completely threw PG's career onto a different path. And just as crucial, this injury halted the Pacers' progress towards a championship. They were 1 game away from
I didn't even realize Paul George would wait. So I'm guessing
I'm gonna go ahead and stop this clip. Just as crucial, this injury halted the Pacers' progress towards a championship. They were 1 game away from the NBA Finals just 2 months before this August matchup. But at this very moment, all of their title hopes were gone in an instant. This is what injuries do. They ruin seasons, they can ruin careers, and they can put an end to championship runs. Fast forward to June 2019, and over the past 5 years, I've watched this revolutionary, nearly unstoppable team from the Bay Area walk through the NBA like they've discovered some secret ingredient to NBA titles. And although I'm not a Warriors fan, it was fun to watch this dynasty unfold before my eyes and witness history firsthand. But as much as I appreciate greatness and dominance, I've got to admit, watching them end up in the finals year after year after year really started to get boring.
That's how soccer fans feel about Real Madrid, bro. I can see the perspective from that.
It's not their fault, they're exceptional. We play to win, and they've been the best at winning for the last half decade. Like the saying goes, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It was all fun and games when Steph and Clay were just those splash bros from Oakland who were lighting teams up from downtown. But the second they became a threat to the NBA's hierarchy, the shenanigans weren't so fun anymore. But then DeMarcus Cousins got injured, and then Curry, and Looney, and Kevin Durant, and then Clay. And just like that, the Golden State Warriors were no longer the bad guys. 5 years despising Golden State's incredible dominance, and a few injuries later, I find myself sympathizing with a beaten, exhausted, short-handed Warriors team that displayed more heart and grit in the last week than they did in the last 3 years. See, injuries will do that. When players get injured, as fans, we oftentimes can put our bias aside and appreciate that in these moments, this is more than just a game. Injuries make teams more vulnerable. They can turn a villain into an underdog. Injuries make superstars a little bit more relatable and can bring an end to entire dynasties. And this got me thinking. After watching the most powerful team in basketball fall apart in the blink of an eye, what were some of the most impactful and devastating injuries in NBA history? Injuries that directly impacted the outlook of a promising season, and in some cases, the outlook of an entire franchise. Of course, we can all recall notable NBA injuries that derailed up-and-coming careers, but what about those that put a halt to a championship run? Injuries that almost undoubtedly lost a team a championship or championships.
So this is a serious video. Come on, I'm ready for this, man. Of course, we're starting with him, man.
It's the 2012 NBA playoffs. The Chicago Bulls are finding.
I'm actually excited for this because I know about it, and I might just do another individual video on like his career. And people suggested videos under that reaction, and over the next week or so, I'll definitely watch one. But I am interested to see this because it's going to just sort of basically show me properly what actually happened and what unfolded throughout his career.
Success they've ever had since the departure of Michael Jordan. All
Jesus,
thanks to an incredibly deep and talented roster that had Joakim Noah, Kyle Korver, veteran experience with Richard Hamilton, Carlos Boozer, a young Taj Gibson, an all-star in Luol Deng, and a rookie Jimmy Butler. All led by the remarkable Derrick Rose in his prime. They had just came off a 62-win season and a loss against the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, and although their young star was dealing with nagging injuries, the Bulls still managed to win 50 games in the regular season, tied for the best record in the entire NBA. Now, 50 wins may not seem like a lot, but if you recall, this was the lockout season where teams played 66 games, which meant 50 games was nearly a 76% winning percentage, the fourth highest in franchise history.
Oh, wow.
This Bulls team was good. Throughout the regular season, Rose dealt with injuries that sidelined him for 43 of 82 games, but the Bulls organization knew what the end goal was and how to get there. With just 2 weeks left in the regular season, Rose laced up again, fresh and healthy, ready for the playoffs. The Bulls won 18 of their last 20 games with Derrick Rose on the floor and were looking better than ever.
So what I'm saying is when he played, they were, 18 out of 20, that's 36, 54, 72. That's like a 90% win record.
This was their year. In the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, the Bulls were facing off against the 76ers, a team that they were clearly better than. This round was supposed to be a warm-up, a bit of a run-through for this Bulls team to prepare them for the...
16, there's 2 minutes left, so they're basically guaranteed the win for this game. Oh no. It's just the last minutes of the game. This is one of those things that just shouldn't have happened, is it?
And we had to witness one of the most devastating injuries in league history.
That looks so uncomfortable as well, man. This is actually gonna be like one of those sad videos. I hate seeing, I say hate, seeing careers, I say ended as well, but like seeing things like this happen to like promising stars in a situation like this, man. Oh, bro, this is like one of the sort of the stories in sport that you have to see to understand it, but you also like, damn, why did this have to happen?
Lead with, in fact, the Bulls had even split their regular season series with the Heat that year, and the Heat went on to win the NBA championship in 5 games. This was supposed to be the resurgence of Bulls basketball and a legacy cemented in time by Rose and his squad. But tragedy struck. The Bulls lost their superstar, lost that first round series, and have yet to recover.
Jeez, that is peak. Bro, there's still 3 more stories as well. That's just the first one.
It's 2017. The Houston Rockets have found a recipe for success in their superstar James Harden and a roster deeper than arguably any other in the league. They have length, they can defend, they have veterans, and they have youth. But they're missing just one key piece. After a trip to the Western Conference Finals and a couple playoff runs that felt a bit underwhelming, the Rockets eventually found their missing ingredient. A man who, ironically, had never found much playoff success himself. Chris Paul. In his first season with the Rockets, Paul helped lead the team to their most wins in franchise history by a wide margin. And for the entire season, Paul was the catalyst for the league's most lethal offense aside from Golden State's. But you can make an argument that in that season, the Rockets were even deadlier than the Warriors, because in those playoffs, we witnessed the impossible. Or at least, almost did.
Oh, man.
Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. The Rockets are up 3-2 in a series against a fully healthy Golden State Warriors team and are coming off back-to-back wins. They had the momentum. They were ahead in the series, and they were the better team. And then...
Shot clock to 5. Paul guarded by Cook. Paul on the spin. Rebound.
Yeah, he is finished, man. His leg looks gone.
Chris Paul is hurt.
With under a minute left in Game 5, Chris Paul goes down with an injury, one that would keep him out for the rest of the playoffs.
Right.
And in his absence, the Rockets were not the same team. Their captain, the conductor of their offense, and their leader was no longer on the floor to set the tone, and it was very apparent. The Rockets went on to lose Game 6 and 7, and if that wasn't devastating enough, the Warriors went on to sweep the Cavs in the
Jeez.
finals to win the NBA championship. The Rockets were 48 minutes away from the finals and almost presumably an NBA title, but fell short all because
Jesus,
of
bro.
one
It's crazy.
awkward landing.
It's crazy how such a, what I say, significant, insignificant. I say not even insignificant. What's the word? Like such a just one injury basically. It's like crazy how one player out of a whole team can change the whole landscape of things. Like you go from being the favourites to now you've lost all basically your confidence because your star man's gone or one of your star men, and it just sort of falls apart. It's weird how that works, but I mean, it shows how like incredible the players that get the injuries really are and how impactful they are. Hopefully all these guys have came back and thrived since. This guy looks very familiar. I'm gonna
Before the
when he says
Cleveland
it.
Cavaliers ever brought a championship home in the biggest comeback in NBA history, they were caught on the opposite side of things just one season prior. In 2015, the Cavs had put together one of the best seasons in franchise history.
Really?
With the arrival of LeBron James and Kevin Love, the power in the East had completely
Love.
shifted overnight. Once again, the Cavaliers were relevant, they were winning, and they were legitimate contenders for a title. After sweeping the Boston Celtics in the first round, it was clear that the Cavs were serious. They had all the tangibles of a championship team. Talent, offensive firepower, and what they lacked on the defensive end, they made up for with the best player on the planet. Unfortunately, after the first round in the playoffs, they also lacked the help of Kevin Love. In Game 4 of the first round against the Celtics, while chasing a rebound, Love was put in an armbar by Kelly Olynyk that would make the WWE proud.
Oh,
And
no.
because this box out from hell, Love missed the remainder of the playoffs. This was huge.
Oh, so it wasn't even the initial guy in the picture. Damn, I was confused because I thought his name. Yeah, anyway, so it's this guy then. Has he like dislocated his arm or something?
Looking back in hindsight, this was a playoff-defining moment.
He just ran
The
straight
Cavs
off.
still had LeBron, Kyrie, and the rest of the Cavs team to win it all, winning 8 out of their next 10 games, including a sweep against the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. This team, even without Kevin Love, would prove to be enough to win a championship.
Fair enough.
That is until
Oh,
Irving falls down, hangs on, gets it.
oh, it's Irving. So that's. I am so confused. They got 2 injuries then.
Smith can't hit the three. Green with another rebound. And Kyrie Irving is hurt, limping up the floor.
in a turn of terrible luck, just 11 games after Love went down with a season-ending injury.
I was so confused for you this little bit, so I just realised it was Kyrie Irving. That's why he looked familiar.
Kyrie Irving was sent to the locker room with one as well. Their
Oh,
big
no.
men, their interior threats, their outside threat, their killer, and 40 points a night, gone. At this
Hard.
point, it was all but over for the Cavs. With 2 of their 3 stars down, the Cavaliers still managed to win 2 games in the finals behind a historic performance by LeBron, a series that introduced us all to Matthew Dellavedova, and an entire team effort. If the Cavaliers would have had Love and Irving, this series would have been very different. But Kevin and Kyrie got injured, the Warriors won their first ring in the Splash Bros era, and the
Jeez.
rest is history.
It's crazy how these sort of things lay out, man. That's unfortunate though. When you actually the 2-star players get injured. This is Kevin Durant.
Now, this next one was the inspiration for this video. A series of events so unfortunate, so catastrophic that it seemed destined to happen. Years building up to a few key moments in time where everything would come crashing down. Fast forward nearly 3 years and here we are. The 2019
Oh,
NBA
so this is the
Finals.
initial part
The
of the
Toronto
video.
Raptors just made the best regular season team in the Bucks look ill-prepared and overmatched. The Warriors took a huge blow by losing KD in Game 5 against the Rockets in the second round, but in Golden State fashion, they cruised to a win in Game 6. They swept the Blazers in the Western Conference Finals, and they found themselves in the NBA Finals for the 5th straight season.
Jesus.
Now, not too much has to be said about this Warriors team. They've got it all, and they have rewritten NBA history right in front of us. They've seen it all and accomplished just about everything there is to accomplish. Well, everything except a three-peat. Only a few teams in league history have ever
So that's
achieved
3 in a
such
row,
feat,
yeah? 3 championships in a row.
cemented in basketball immortality. And at the beginning of this season, a three-peat was all but certain. Through a roller coaster of a regular season, the Warriors still finished with the most wins in the Western Conference, and for most
They are
of the
some
season
dominant
looked
guys.
like they were coasting. Because we all know they have a switch that they can flip at any time, an extra gear to put themselves over the top. And the postseason looked no different. Until, of course,
Ibaka trying to stay with Durant, knocks it away, and Durant's limping. Durant goes down holding his leg. Ibaka goes up and is fouled down the other end. And Durant grabbing that right leg.
So that's Achilles.
It's the right calf
Oh.
that put him out.
after making a gutsy comeback in Game 5 of the finals, Durant went down with an injury that after a second viewing was much worse than it looked the first time around. This was hard to watch, but KD showed the basketball world that his love for the game extends any metric we've put onto him up to this point. And although Durant has been huge to the Warriors' success, we've seen them win it all without him. And this time around, they have DeMarcus Cousins at their disposal. After winning Game 5 in nail-biting fashion, the Warriors really had a shot at a comeback. They finally had a chance to truly redeem themselves after the infamous 3-1 blown lead finals. What could possibly go wrong? In what could possibly be the most devastating two-game stretch in playoff history, the Warriors lost their finals MVP and one of the best shooters in league history in a 72-hour stretch. For the first time in years, I found myself actually feeling bad for them. Watching KD get carried off the court, watching Klay come back after tearing his ACL to sink 2 free throws, and watching Stephen Curry do everything in his power to keep his team alive. Considering everything that led up to this point, there just really wasn't much they could do. It was a valiant effort, but like many other teams have learned before them, sometimes injuries can be a team's saving grace,
injuries are mental.
and sometimes it can be their demise.
Because what I did notice is, was it the team before these? Like they were. Well, there's a few situations when it was the Golden State who won. Oh, it was the. Who is it? Is it the Hornets? Not the Hornets. I'm going to come back to this bit. I just need to see the team. The team that Durant plays for. Not Durant, sorry. Harden. Okay, I'm going to search after.
All of these teams were on a path
because
to
they were playing a game, or they were the favourites, and then the team that ended up winning was the Golden State. So it just sort of shows that injuries happen both sort of ways. If it just came to it, man, I mean, it's obviously not possible, but just injuries not happening would be the perfect situation, wouldn't it? Because they just end. On occasions they end players' careers, they end team seasons, and it's just like, man, if only that didn't happen. It's just one of those situations. Just like, man, it's the Houston Rockets, with like Harden, etc. They were the favourites, and then they ended up getting the injuries, or that player got the injury, and then the Golden State ended up going to win. So it's like,
and because of one misstep, because of one move or one wrong decision, that championship was out of reach. And this really puts things into perspective. It takes a million right decisions and actions to win a ring, but it only takes one injury to lose a ring. Injuries that cost everything. Hope you all enjoyed.
shout out
As
to Jimmy
always,
Harlan, man.
Until next time.
Shout out to Jimmy Harlan, man. Makes another banging video. These are all quite like, I say sad, like they're quite sad situations, but for me, still without a doubt, is a Derrick Rose one. And I'm definitely going to do a direct video on that because it's just something different about it. Like the fact that he had such high potential, he was just a crazy player. He didn't even have to be playing in the rest of that game. Like, there was 2 minutes left. They had already won. And then he just oh, mate, it is a sad situation. But that's sport, man. I guess you just got to deal with it. And it's good that he's back. I will definitely see some more highlights of his more recent plays because I haven't done so yet. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. More things like this, please just suggest what you want me to see and I'll try and do so in future. Until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.